Today's episode is juicy with a capital J. Juicy, juicy. We're going to be knuckling down on all things acting goals. Why you're not achieving them as quickly as you want to, how you can actually achieve them quicker, why it's easier than you're probably even thinking right now. Just basically how we can go from being stuck and feeling like your goals are this distant, far off thing to actually achieving and nailing them. And I'm going to be giving you 3 things you can do because you can do it. You can achieve the success you're after. You are simply just overlooking a few things. You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? When you've listened to the episode, I highly recommend you register a place at the free upcoming Business of Acting workshop. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you will know how I talk about needing 50% focus on improving your performances and 50% focus on the business of acting, because this is what will get you cast more. So many of you get in a pickle with the business of acting. You focus on the wrong things. You end up feeling a little bit miffed or a little bit frustrated when your acting career isn't developing, or you're doing the same things over and over and over again and feeling like you're chasing your tail and you are not getting the results that you want. And this workshop puts an end to all that because you are going to learn how to raise your profile, nail what makes you unique and stand out from other actors so you can finally crack the industry and get more work. This is a free 2-hour workshop and you simply need to go and register your place at bit.ly/biz of acting free course. I'll spell that out for you. It's bit.ly/biz of acting free course. All in lowercase. Now, if you don't want to go and put that into Google, don't worry, I've left it underneath the episode for you. But definitely go and get your place. I want you achieving your acting goals. I really do. There's nothing that makes me more excited than seeing students of mine, listeners of the podcast, achieving what it is that they're setting out to achieve. So what I want you to do is just take a moment to imagine what you will feel like when you do achieve your acting goals. What are you going to feel like? And how is your life going to look? Now, what's missing for so many of you is that you've got big imaginations, you know you're passionate about acting, you have the feeling and the desire and the determination of wanting to be a professional actor, and that's something that never leaves you, but you are getting all tangled up in lack of confidence, doubts, everything that could go wrong, doubts of other people. You know, other people will say well-meaning things like, oh, it's a tough industry. Are you sure you want to do this? And you can get caught up in that. You get caught up in your current financial circumstances, life. And let's be honest, while these things are important and they need to be acknowledged, you actually don't feel fulfilled currently with your career. And so when you're getting caught up in these things, and that's not an exhaustive list, by the way, there's other things that I've missed off of it, but when you're getting caught up in these, you are disconnecting from your acting goals because these worries, these doubts, these fears, these excuses, these things disconnect you from your acting goals. And we've got something called a triangle for success. And the triangle for success has 3 points on it. Obviously, it's a triangle. At the top is mindset. On the second point is skill set. And on the third point is action set. Mindset is not about thinking positively all of the time. That's toxic positivity. We do have to acknowledge when things are challenging. You know, if right now your finances are up shit creek without a paddle, then no amount of positive thinking is going to change that. You have to acknowledge, right now, currently I'm a bit broke. This is just a snapshot of my life. It's not my life forever. That's how we reframe it. But we don't do toxic positivity. But as I've already said, mindset is not about thinking positively all the time. Mindset, in this sense of getting you to achieve your acting goals, is actually about something called mental rehearsal. So whilst I'm not a neuroscientist, and whilst I'm not an expert in the brain at all, I am a geek about the brain and I love learning about it. So I'm going to give you a little lesson in the brain in the things that I've learned along the way. Just remembering I'm an acting coach who specialises in method acting and the business of acting. I just want to remind you again, I am not a neuroscientist, but I do know enough about it to know what works. So successful people have constant reminders absolutely everywhere of what they want to achieve. A couple of examples of this are Richard Branson. Most of you will probably have heard of him if you're way outside the UK, maybe you've not, but he's a UK businessman, entrepreneur. And in the early days, he had a Ferrari model at his desk. So he saw that every single day. Jim Carrey, you'll be more familiar with. He had a cheque in his pocket for £1 million. And he kept looking at that every single day. So these two examples are examples of mental rehearsal. And mental rehearsal is pretty much brainwashing yourself, but in a good way. Because repetition is the mother of success. One of my all-time favourite sayings. If you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, you'll know that I say that all the time. So I want you to remember that repetition is the mother of success. And so many acting schools are simply not teaching you this. They're saying things like, oh, this actor achieved this. You need the method. You need these techniques. Yeah, these things are true, but you need to do practical things on the business side of acting as well. And you need to mentally rehearse every single day, no exceptions. And you mentally rehearse even in the face of the challenges around you, because there will always be challenges. Life is always going to throw challenges at you 1000% of the time. There's no getting away from it. Nobody gets through life without any bumps or scrapes or bruises. So let's see becoming a successful actor as a puzzle. And one part of that puzzle is mental rehearsal. Now, here's the thing about it. You are only going to do this if you make it a habit. You have to make it an important part of your day. And you have to trust that the mental rehearsal is working even when you are not seeing results immediately. The reason so many of us want to see instant results is because we live in what I call the pot noodle society. We want everything in an instant, and acting careers don't work like that. Acting careers are not a pot noodle. Acting careers are not an Amazon Prime delivery. We have got to move away from that way of thinking. Just because society is conditioning us via things like Amazon Prime, via things like fast foods, via things like social media and having everything in an instant, we have to go against that grain, because you will never ever get an acting career in an instant. I want to tell you about something called the reticular activation system, or RAS for short. So this is why mental rehearsal is important, and this is the little brain lesson. So your brain will show you what you think about the most. Now, let me give you an example of this. Have you ever got a new car? You've never seen that car in your entire life, and then all of a sudden, you've seen them everywhere. Well, here's the thing. Those cars were always there. You just never noticed them because they weren't important to you. But because now you've got that car, your reticular activation system, or RAS for short, has gone, oh, this is really important. And now you're noticing them. Have you ever been on a date with someone and they've got an unusual name and you're like, oh, I've never heard that name before. And then all of a sudden you're hearing that name everywhere. It's not that that name never existed before and it's only just come into your existence. It's because it weren't important to you before. So your RAS system will have seen it or heard the name, but just filtered it out as, oh, this is not important information. We don't need to know this. And so this is important for you to know, because you will not see acting opportunities if you are focusing on all of the challenges going on. So if you're focusing on the financial challenges you've currently got, or you're focusing on the life problems you've currently got, or you're focusing on everyone else telling you acting's a tough industry, do you really want to do this? You will see that, and you will see lots of that, but you won't spot the opportunities because the challenges have become more important to you than the opportunities. So what is mental rehearsal then? Mental rehearsal is visualizing the success that you want daily. And when you mentally rehearse, you make the success that you want important. So then your RAS, your reticular activation system, goes, oh, this is important to this person, because you've also emotionalized it. You know, when you get that new car that you've never seen anywhere before, then all of a sudden you've seen them everywhere. It's because you've emotionalized it, because it's like, oh, this is exciting. It's a new car. Same with dating, same with acting opportunities. Now, in the free workshop, which I've already spoken about at the beginning of the episode, it's called The Business of Acting, Raise Your Profile, Book More Work. In that free workshop, I'm going to be going through mental rehearsal with you. I'm going to be taking you through a 10-minute mental rehearsal, the exact one that I did every single day when I returned to the acting industry after a huge break. And what that did for me is it allowed me to spot opportunities that I never would have seen before, ever. And that's one of the reasons why I got more auditions than I'd ever had in my entire acting career. So now the second thing we need to do is we need to conquer the overwhelm that you feel, because lots of you have got really big goals of TV work, big films, stage work, things like Broadway, West End, but you've either got very few or no credits on your acting CV, or you've returned from a break and the credits you've got that you do have are from what seems like a lifetime ago. So you feel like this is going to be a problem. Now, either way, whatever your situation currently is, there's a lot of distance between where you are now and where you want to be. And that distance usually gets filled with the desire and the passion that's in there, but it's mainly filled with the fears and the worries and the doubts. So how I want you to imagine that distance between where you currently are right now, what your current reality is, and the acting goals that you've got, I want you to imagine that distance as a jar, and that jar is filled with rocks and grains of sand. And those grains of sand are your passion and your desire. So there are bits of passion and desire in there, but the rocks, which are huge, are the doubts, and they are taking up the majority of the space in the jar. So what we have to do to conquer this overwhelm, to shrink those rocks and get more sand in that jar, which is the metaphor for the distance between where you are now and your acting goals, is we've got to make a list of every single step you need to take to get you from where you are now to the goal you have in mind with your acting. And now this might look daunting at first. Once you've written out your list of every single step you need to take, you're going to be like, oh my good Lord, like I've got all this to do? What the hell? But actually, it will take you away from the overwhelm, really, because now you've got clarity. Now you know the exact steps that you've got to take. And that's way better than being overwhelmed and thinking, oh my good Lord, how am I going to go from where I am right now, struggling to pay the bills and the rent, to actually being on Netflix? Now you've got all the steps that you need to take. And the final thing you need to do is just choose one thing to conquer off your list. And once you've conquered one thing, then you'll choose another and you'll conquer that. So you can now see that acting is 50% improving your craft, and it's 50% business, which is more than just headshots and showreels, which so many of you get sucked into. They are important, but they're not the full picture. So the business of acting is practical steps to get you taking action to achieve your acting goals. And it's far easier than you think it is. You just need showing how to do it. And that's why I'm recommending you join the workshop on Saturday, the 27th of April. I'm giving you a place free of charge, and I'm going to be walking you through the Triangle for Success framework, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to be showing you practical things you need to do to start getting those acting jobs sooner. So all you need is an internet connection, the determination to move away from working in this unfulfilling job to actually getting paid to act regularly, and you just need the desire to learn. That's it. So the workshop is Sunday the 27th of April, 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. UK time. I think that works out at 3 p.m. till 5 p.m. European time. And I think it's 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. New York time. When you register your place, I'm going to email you the workshop link over straight away. And you're going to get a workshop book. And you are also going to get access to a pop-up Facebook group that has got some pre-workshop exercises in it. Because I am going all in with this. I want you working. I am so passionate about this. So just as a reminder, you need to get your place at bit.ly/biz of acting free course. Or if you can't remember that, just simply click the link underneath the episode. I hope you are feeling fired up, inspired, and ready to rock and roll with your acting. And I hope I am going to see you in that free acting workshop, because if not, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. I'll see you soon. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.